moving on to the VDL Victory Draft League. I love Victini.
Uh, I think to some extent fan favorite. Not number one fan favorite. We've done polls, but Victini, I think really high up there and well deserved. I like the design a lot. They also gave Victini quite a bit of love with the steering shot, V create, originally
Create.
completely exclusive moves, solid, strong, heavy hitting moves too. But
And
yeah,
it's really cool looking.
I feel like those concepts are kind of represented with this team, right? You've got adaptability, base 135 special attack PZ.
Hmm.
Primarina has a reputation, I think, across many draft leagues, being kill leader close to it. I know Cybertron had that
Aaron Zeng, yeah.
Vitor with Primarina initially. Oh god, so stressful to prep against Primarina.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'd say Weavile hits hard. You can do a lot with Arcanine, uh, Geico. Adaptability Part 2, the remix with
Dragalge, yeah.
Dragalge. Yeah, okay. Aesthetics also, I'll start positive. Um,
I know where this is going.
Tyrantrum, just, uh,
One
so
of the coolest
beautiful.
designs. Yeah, I think it's so cool. It's not, you don't see it a lot, but
Tyrantrum
it's
reminds
very
me of a
cool.
Digimon.
It does.
But like in the best way. This would be like maybe a Deva, one of the like four gods of Digimon. I'm a really big fan of the design. I think Runerigus looks really cool. I'm a bigger fan of Impidimp than Morgram, but like, hey, we'll let it slide. Dragalge is like kelp personified, but like also a seahorse. I don't know. I vibe with that. Raiko is a tiger, so like that's my QED whenever 10-year-old me was like, "Oh my god, the three legendary cats. That one is literally a saber-tooth tiger." Like you can't argue against that.
Yeah, it's not
QED
a
mama.
dog. They call it legendary dogs. They're not dogs.
Okay, but I can you say the name for me cuz I can't. Like
Okay, so rather than ask you what move would you make, why would you drop Girder?
aesthetics. I'm biased. I'm completely biased. I'm being completely open about it because I think it's fair. And if anyone wants to call me out on it, you know what? I'll just do it myself. Uh, that said, like I do think Eviolite could be good on Morgram. I understand you can run both, and Morgram doesn't need the Eviolite per se, for example. But I just no, do not want. Nope.
I've never been a big fan of like those middle evolutions like a Girder, Machoke, and things like that. I've seen them in draft league. I mean, I'm not talking aesthetics, but I've
Okay.
seen them, and I think we actually had another one earlier in that we were saying drop as well. I forget which one it was. I think it was in the last episode.
Mhm.
It was definitely a free pick, but
Yeah.
I think the D tier, like this team is very complete. I really like this team. I think that a D tier can fill a specific role, and one of those roles could potentially be Bronzor,
Hmm.
right? And I actually think that was one of your ideas that I'm stealing right now just to pass off as my own and coming clean about it. I'm coming clean. Why
Yeah.
Bronzor though?
Oh, I just realized PZ is also a trick room setter. But generally, if you want to go with a slow mode, you don't want somebody with base 90 speed to be going for trick room. But I mean, if you're running a flex team, it could make sense to also run it on PZ. But
Mm-hmm.
what you do by having another really slow trick room setter is you allow your potential offense-oriented trick room setter to commit fully to that instead of having to run some kind of utility move to benefit the whole team. You're like taking a load off their shoulders. So Bronzor, I mean, they're probably only ever coming in and clicking Trick Room, and ideally, you get
Some
a support move or two
screens.
in there. But
Yeah.
Runerigus, you could really go for a setup strat that could be effective, or just go full on offense and not having to commit to a move, which is more support for the team. Uh, emphasize that. I mean, especially if you wanted to go, for example, Assault Vest. Talk about a Pokemon who's never going down. Dynamax, Assault Vest, Runerigus. Base defense, through the roof. Special defense, good. You get a free +1. Mom.
access to max knuckle as
That's not
well
getting
through body
OHKO'd.
press. Yeah, that's I think
Hmm.
this thing could be really really good in support and also on the offensive side as well. So yeah, having that versatility to not be your only good trick room setter, I think is just adds a little bit. Actually, in my opinion, enough to this team to do very very well. So. I think that Bronzor idea that you had was really good, and doesn't, like you said, doesn't really fight the Morgram for the Eviolite, um,
Right.
because Morgram does really well with Focus Sash and things like that. Um,
And you're probably only bringing Bronze Orb when you don't want to set Trick Room with Renarigus. I mean, they have two of the same weaknesses, which is negative against that. But uh, yeah, so there will be a lot of weeks where Morgrim can come as a solo Eviolite user. That's already true too with He Who Shall Not Be, well, They Who Shall Not Be Named.
mm,
I know looking at the Pokemon, uh, I get masculine vibes, but they can be male or female, and we're going to respect that.
oh,
Yeah, it's the same thing with them, but uh, I I like Morgrim with Eviolite as much as I like Morgrim without Eviolite, and I'm I like the idea of another slow trick room setter, and I don't like the aesthetics of, let's say, the original Steel Beam Haver.
well, and not to mention,
Bit of a mouthful for an adjacent name, but yeah.
well, like I
I
was thinking as well, like it's not like with the addition of Bronzor and setting Trick Room, you don't have to bulldoze your Dragalge with a base 95 attack stab bulldoze from Rodriguez to activate that policy.
No,
There,
yeah.
I did see that when I saw this. You know, there's no secret that Dragalge with Dynamax and weakness policy is a very very good mon. Not to mention
Mm,
getting that stat. It's the strongest max ooze in the game, being adaptability boosted. So
right.
and it's just snowballing effect as well. Like once you use the first strong attack with max ooze, it just gets stronger the next turn and things like that. So Dragalge can go off, and I think adding like a weaker bulldozer that sets Trick Room as well would
Hmm.
be just what the doctor ordered for this team. So very very cool team. Weavile is one of my favorite Pokemon ever. So it's nice to see it there as well. And we just completely ignored Arcanine because it doesn't need any extra love, right?
I Arcanine is not necessarily popular as being considered the best draft league Pokemon ever, period. But
But it's
Arcanine is
up there.
usually in discussion for top five.
Yep.
So yeah, Arcanine really, really good. There is the beat up mode. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone. And also the main Intimidate user by
Mm-hmm.
being the only one. That's also widely considered one of, if not the best ability in the game. So yeah, Arcanine just does a lot.